Hey, what's up? This is Jason Drone. Welcome to today's episode of GSD Daily. Now, this is episode 96, and this week we are talking about something that isn't quite, it is internet marketing, of course. Digital marketing, internet marketing, that whole thing. But we're going to go on a slightly different trajectory for this next probably 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to start deconstructing different ways of making money online, building a business, doing the small foundational things that are important for your growth online and for moving a business online. And here is why that matters. So everything, as it comes to like internet business, online businesses and stuff, everything kind of, boils down to some very simple activities that you just have to do over and over and over again. You have to master. You have to show up and actually partake in, or you need to find somebody to do it on your behalf. One of those things is writing. So we have talked so much about writing copy, about building, creating products. We've talked about ebooks, video courses, membership sites. We've talked about sales funnels, webinars, email copy, all of it. We've talked about so much stuff, but at the end of the day, it comes down to writing. Writing is the foundation of doing business online. So this week, what we're going to talk about is how to get paid to write. We're going to talk about a lot of different ways to get paid to write, to make money writing. Because let's face it, the people who know how to write online are the ones who can build an audience. And it doesn't necessarily have to be long blog posts. I mean, it can be short form social media posts. It can be Instagram, captions. It can be, sales videos, sales letters. There's so many different ways to grow your audience and to generate revenue when you know how to write, or when you employ writers, or you have a writer on your team and you know how to guide them. But if you don't write, then it's very difficult to get traction. Then if you don't write, you basically have your, if you don't write, then you are looking at, really you're not able to get your message out. You're looking at the only medium that you have to convey your message is video, which is fine. Video is great. But video employs lots of other, things like body language and, all of the things you pick up, all the nonverbal communication that you pick up through it. So you're factoring in a whole lot of other things rather than just the message that you're trying to convey. So writing, fundamental skill. Now this week, like I said, we're going to talk about different ways to write. What is on the docket for this week? We're going to talk about blogging. We're going to talk about, we got blogging, freelancing, copywriting, getting paid per article, that kind of stuff. So every day we're going to kind of, unveil one of these get paid to writing strategies, or get paid to write strategies. Today, though, I want to introduce this idea of single stream revenue from writing, or multi-stream revenue from writing. Single stream versus multi-stream. Single stream is basically where you are paid for the act of writing, meaning you get paid for writing an article. Maybe you get paid $100 or $50 or $300 or whatever. You get paid to ghostwrite. You get paid to ghostwrite a 20,000 word ebook. You get paid to be a freelance writer. So you're actually getting paid to write. This idea of multiple stream writing, multiple stream income from writing, is where you don't necessarily get paid for the writing itself. You get paid because of the writing. So it's not like the act. It's not like a job, where you write something, you get paid. But in this multiple stream, this idea of multiple stream, you get paid to write, but it's not directly through writing. You get paid to write because you're selling something because of the writing, because you're linking to something because of the writing, because you're bonding with an audience because of the writing. Now, it's just a different idea. It's a different thought process behind this single stream and multi-stream. The single stream is you're looking for a writing job. You're looking to ghostwrite a book. You're looking to write articles and have somebody pay you, which is great. I mean, you can absolutely make a great living as a writer. Like if you're an SEO content writer, you can make $200, $300 per article. You can make great money writing. We've built sales funnels where people ghostwrite books for $25,000. So if your target revenue is $250,000, you don't need to ghostwrite that many books. You can find Filipino writers, and that's what she did. She found like Filipino writers to write, and then she was basically an editor. So there's lots of different scenarios for getting paid to writing. This multiple stream idea, though, you're writing a blog post to then link to a product or link to an affiliate product or link to a software offer. And that software offer is how you end up getting paid. And maybe you get paid 100% of the revenue because it's your offer. And maybe you get paid 50% of the revenue because it's an affiliate offer. But regardless, you are still writing. It still takes writing in order to pull that off. Now, so, there's lots of different ways to get paid for writing. So we're going to talk about single stream writing for a little bit, just to kind of just flesh out some of these ideas. So the first is, and it's the most obvious one, getting paid to write books, getting paid as an author. So getting paid for paperbacks, writing a paperback, writing hardcover book, writing reports, writing guides, writing whatever, whether that is a guide or a book or a report that you want to write and then put out into the world, and you want to sell it on your website, or you want to sell it on Kindle, or you want to sell it on ClickBank or whatever. There's lots of different, mediums, lots of different marketplaces that you can sell your book, your ebook. You just need to be a master of something, so if you are a paleo cooking expert, you might write a paleo cookbook. And then, of course, that begs the question, like, how do you get followers? How do you build an audience? And that's where, more writing comes into play. And what you will find when you're trying to sell your own thing is you're never done writing. You're always going to be writing. You're always going to be producing content, and that's just, and eventually you get to a point where you're like 10 years into it and you're just kind of reworking the content that you've already made, which is what I find myself doing a lot, because we have content for, from years, for 14 years worth of content. But you're never going to be done writing. You're always going to be writing. So one of the big things when people create courses and stuff is they think that once the course is done, once the book is done, once it's published, once it's live, that they're done. And that is not true. I mean, oftentimes they're just getting started. They're just getting started with the writing because they have another 100 blog posts they need to write in order to promote that thing, or a bunch of videos that they need to create that all need to be, captioned or whatever. So writing is in the simplest form. Writing is how you get your material out there. Kindle books, reports, guides, all good stuff. So of course a guide or a report or a short, 2, 3, 4, 6 page lead magnets, that's going to be the thing that you're going to create in exchange for an email address. The 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 page book, that's going to be the thing you sell for $37. Or if it's on Kindle, it's going to be $14.95 or $19.95 or whatever the number is. Paperback, it's going to be $14. So none of those are going to get you rich. The upsell offers after that book are what is going to make you a lot of money. Another way to make money writing is ghostwriting, offering your services up to another person to write their book, or their report or their whatever, so ghostwriting, again, hugely profitable. Like I said, we've worked with clients who have ghostwritten books. They turn it into multi-million-dollar businesses where that's their offer, ghostwriting books, because at the end of the day, everybody hates to write, so this week is, there's very few people who like to write. I remember back when we were doing a lot of SEO stuff. The number one challenge that we heard, or the number one problem that people had, was they were like, I don't like to write. I don't know that. I mean, there's some people that like to write. I enjoy writing. I just don't have time for it anymore. Which is why we do video and transcription and stuff. But you still need written word in order to promote your stuff, in order to get ranked in Google, in order to get the results, really that you're looking for online. And as a writer, you have an unfair advantage because most people don't like to write. So just understanding that and knowing that there's lots of ways to actually make money writing is a good deal. So ghostwriting, you put an offer together where you're going to write their report, their book, whatever, and maybe it's $5,000 or $10,000 or $25,000 to ghostwrite their book. You're going to dig into their information, maybe listen to some of their videos or their audios or whatever, and find out how they write. Learn about their stories, interview them, and put together a book that they would have written themselves. That is what effective ghostwriting is. That's what's going to make you a lot of money, as a ghostwriting author, I guess. Finding that person, you might be able to find them on social media. You can definitely find them on like a freelance service like Upwork. Family and friends, you might have somebody who is looking to ghostwrite a book, and there might be, a deal that you can work out with them. But the freelancing side is kind of the next step. Like, how do you become a freelance writer? It was a product that I put together a long, long time ago. And it was basically how to start a freelancing site, or how to start a freelancing career. Now, freelancing as a writer is pretty easy anymore. You just set up an account on Upwork.com and you start posting bids for projects. It really is that simple. Upwork is a publicly traded company now. Elance and Odesk came together to create Upwork. Maybe one of them bought another or whatever, and then it became publicly traded. So it is a publicly traded company at the moment. Their stock is doing okay, especially in this pandemic. Everybody needs outsourced work, or maybe they don't need outsourced work, but there is going to be a growing demand for remote labor, in time. So Upwork, you just create an account on Upwork. You give them access to your, you let them know where they need to send your money. Then you start posting on jobs. And you can write anything. I mean, we've hired lots and lots and lots of writers off of Upwork. And, there are expensive writers and cheap writers and, overseas writers and stateside writers and every type of writer you can think of. The most important thing is making sure that your feedback is good. You have a good 5-star rating. You finish stuff on time, and you don't be expensive, but don't be cheap. In the number, the price that you put. But it's a perfect way of getting paid for writing, especially if you don't have your own site, you don't have your own products, you don't have really your own thing, your own presence. You can, if you like writing, just go ahead and freelance it. Eventually you'll probably be able to pull some of those clients off of Upwork, so you don't have to pay their percentage commissions. So you have a more intimate relationship with the client. So you can become, more one-on-one with their team. You know what I mean? The next way to make money writing is copywriting. So copywriting is sales copy, email copy, webinar copy, all of the stuff that we talk about. Now, I never really liked writing a whole lot. Was never real good at it. Well, I can't say that. I was pretty good at it. Didn't really like it until I was in college, and I had this exposition writing level 1 or something. Expository writing, I think, was the name of the class. And I wrote papers like I did in high school, very research oriented, very, everything. And basically this class was, to kind of get you to open up your writing. I had a great professor, and the professor basically said, anything goes. You can write whatever you want, use your imagination, write whatever you want. And by the end of this class, I was able to start kind of opening up in terms of how I wrote. And I was gaining a lot more confidence in how I wrote. And then after like I started, I think I was in school for 3 years or 4 years. And I started writing a blog. So my first blog was jdsblog.com. So I just started blogging, which is the next get paid for writing thing. But so I just started blogging, and then I was posting ads all over the place and whatever. And I started writing, just whatever I thought. I started writing and putting essays together and stuff, like the way that I thought that they should go together. And I started getting much better grades in that class. So my confidence, started going up in terms as a writer. And then once I made the transition online, I started blogging, started trying to find traffic, realized that I wasn't getting any traffic. So started keyword loading blog posts, and then learning how to write sales copy and everything else. And I really fell in love with the persuasiveness of writing. To the point now, where it's really, you should watch me write an email. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like, I overthink every word, but in terms of getting paid to write, copywriting is a very, very high dollar skill. Writing webinars, writing sales copy, writing email copy. I mean, when you are a copywriter and you're good at what you do, you can command money, because you are 100%, from a direct response standpoint, you are 100% in control of the revenue that is produced by that sales copy. So, the highest paid copywriters in the world, they'll charge $25,000, $50,000 for one sales letter, because they know that sales letter is going to make the company $1 million or $2 million or $5 million, and it's just one sales letter. So that is how really high-end copy works. But to be a great copywriter, you have to practice copy. You have to write a lot of copy. And you have to practice. You have to rewrite. You have to test. You have to tweak. You have to rewrite, and then continue seeing what works best. What are some of the tricks? How do you use headlines, the subheadlines, and how do you tie emotion and, logic into sales copy, and where should you do that? And how do you do price drops and all kinds of other stuff as it relates to, just writing persuasive copy. And that is where copywriting gets a lot of its value, so if you like psychology, if you like persuasion, if you are a good sales guy and you also like to write, copywriting is probably going to be right up your alley. Again, you can be a freelance copywriter. You can post jobs on Upwork, or not post jobs, but you can take jobs. There's all kinds of, sales copy projects that are posted on Upwork. It's a very in-demand skill. It always will be. You're never not going to be in work, The challenge is there isn't a lot of really great copywriting courses, because it's very difficult to buy. It's very difficult to teach. It's very difficult to teach code copy, because at the end of the day, it's the people who write a lot of copy are not usually the best teachers. So I've listened to like a lot of audio programs on copy, and how to sequence things, and but oftentimes it doesn't. The only way for it to work real well is when you listen to the courses and the programs, and then you write. In writing, you have to write. In any of these things, you have to write. But for copywriting, you have to write a lot. Another thing you can do is get paid per article. So there are sites out there. We're going to cover this during the week. But there are sites that you just get paid per article, $50 an article. In Vado, years and years ago, there was a site called Freelance Switch, which the makers of Envato, the creators of Envato, were running. And they were paying basically people $50 per blog post that they wrote. And then they had just, that they wrote and published. So they basically had like a stack of 2,000 blog posts that people submitted. They picked the best ones. They paid the writer $50, and then they published it on their website. It was a great model. Then they ended up taking that model to their like PSD Toots, which was like all their Toots series. And then they started paying like $100 and $150 per tutorial that somebody sent in and that they published. And then now it's in Vado Elements or in Vado Marketplace, like the whole marketplace thing. But they kind of, from what I remember, they kind of pioneered the model. There was some sites that were doing it. Now there's quite a few sites that will pay you per for submitting articles. So I will drop those. I think it's on Thursday. We're going to be covering that stuff. And then of course, the big one is just being a professional blogger, having a blog on your own that is, you have set up as your own website. And we're going to go through like how to do all of this stuff. But so we use like WordPress, a self-hosted version of WordPress. You can set up a domain name and website hosting at GoDaddy. And then you can just install WordPress and start blogging. Really, really simple stuff. So I think we're going to go through and actually do that all on a live stream. Just, it might be a little bit longer episode, but just so it's in the can. And then if you learn something, that would be awesome. But basically, blogging as a profession is you, first of all, need to start writing content. Second of all, you need to start getting some traffic. And then third, you need to figure out how you're going to make money with that traffic, whether it's sponsorships, whether it's posting ads, whether it is selling your own thing, which is I recommend. But being a professional blogger isn't about the writing. It's not about the traffic. It's about the offers that you make after you get the traffic. But in order to get the traffic, you also need to write, so that's one of those multiple stream things. So that is what we're going to be talking about this week in Get Paid to Write Week. And if you have any questions at all, just go to doneforyou.com, fill in the little box in the lower, in the chat box. And if you would like to talk about setting up, anything business related, whether it's, traffic, setting up sales funnels, automation, just go to doneforyou.com/start and fill in the little form and we'll get started. I'll talk to you soon. All right. Thanks.